yesterday. If there are any questions about yesterday's lecture, I'll be happy to answer them also. And today we are going to discuss bronchial asthma. So what is asthma? Asthma is a chronic inflammatory condition in which there is recurrent episodes of breathlessness. Asthma can be life-threatening. It occurs at any age, but usually occurs in young age group. Asthma is not contagious, but it runs into family. It's something which is innate. So a family history, if someone is having a family history of asthma and he is having breathlessness, one should be suspecting asthma. Asthma cannot be cured, but it can be controlled very well with few medications. All right. So asthma is a disorder of bronchial airways. So we know that our lung consists of two parts. One is airways, that is the bronchi, bronchioles, terminal bronchi, and the other is the lung substance, the alveoli. So asthma is a disorder of bronchial airways. So what happens during an episode of asthma? You see, this is a normal airway, and can you people listen to me? Am I audible? If I get a feedback, it will be very helpful. And if anything is not clear, it will be good to ask in between. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So this is a normal airway. You can see that this inner, we have cut it. Okay. So this is the inner lumen through which the air goes into the lung to the alveoli. All right. And this is an airway of asthma, asthmatic patient. All right. So you can see that during when there is an asthma attack, there is narrowing of the lumen. All right. Number one. Number two, what happens? That you can see that this is the wall of the airway, which becomes inflamed here. So there's inflammation, there's bronchoconstriction. All right. Then you can see that it's clear. But here, this yellow thing is the mucus, the sputum. So the inner lumen is further compromised by production of sputum. And then these blue things, these are the muscles. And when there is long-standing asthma, these deteriorating the condition. All right. So this is the normal airway, and you can see that how compromised this airway is. So asthmatic would be having very much trouble in breathing through this airway. All right. So what is definition of asthma? Asthma is a heterogeneous disease, usually characterized by chronic airway inflammation. It is defined by history of respiratory symptoms such as wheeze, shortness of breath, chest tightness, and cough that vary over time and in intensity, together with variable expiratory flow limitation. All right. So this is definition of asthma. This is the current definition. All right. And what you have to remember are these words. So the definition of asthma is it's a chronic airway inflammation. There are respiratory symptoms, and it is characterized by variable expiratory airflow limitation. Now simple, it's a chronic airway inflammation. There are respiratory symptoms and variable expiratory airflow limitation. All right, so there's variability. Once upon a time, it was thought that reversibility is the benchmark of asthma, but now the variability. Okay, is that clear? All right. Asthma differs from other obstructive disease in that it's largely reversible, either spontaneously or with treatment. All right. So in COPD, what we saw was that we gave bronchodilator and there was no improvement with bronchodilator. So that's how we diagnose COPD. In asthma, what we do spirometry, and after doing spirometry, we give bronchodilator, and if there's reversibility, if there's a good reversibility, we diagnose asthma because that is variability. All right. Patients with asthma may experience symptom-free period alternating with acute exacerbation. All right. So as in COPD, asthma also have got exacerbations which last from minutes to hours to days, depending upon the condition. So the inflammation in asthma is due to certain inflammatory cells like mast cells, eosinophils, T helper cells, etc., which produces certain mediators like histamines, leukotrienes, platelet activating factors. All right. And the effect of these mediators on bronchial tree is bronchospasm, plasma exudation, mucus excretion, structural changes. All right, which we call remodeling, as we saw in that figure, the smooth muscles tightened around the bronchial tree, and that causes remodeling. So in that way, asthma becomes a fixed airway disease like COPD. That is known as remodeling, the structural changes of the airway. All right. So this is again the same inflammatory process that when allergens come, then these cells produces mediators which causes symptoms, and if symptoms remain there for a long time, there's airway remodeling. So the risk factor that lead to asthma development, the most important of them is atopy, the innate thing, the familial thing. All right. Then comes the gender. Asthma is more prevalent in males in younger age group and in females in older age groups. So overall, the predisposition of male to female ratio is almost same, more in males in childhood and more in females in adulthood. All right. The other causal factors are indoor allergens like domestic mites. We call them dust mites, which are present in beddings and in carpets. And these are microscopic organisms, and they feed on our skin and hairs that shut down, and through their excreta, asthma exacerbates. Then there are animal allergens like people who keep cats in their houses, or dogs with furry dogs or other animals. They causes asthma exacerbation. Then there are cockroach allergens, then fungi, molds, and then there are occupational sensitizers like industrial pollution, etc. These all causes asthma. These all causes predisposed to asthma. Other contributing factors are recurrent respiratory infections, then small size at birth, malnutrition, indoor and outdoor pollution, and very, very important is passive and active smoking. So a child who is living with parents who smoke is exposed to smoke in a very young age group and has got more chances of getting asthma. So these were, we discussed the predisposing factors. Now there are some factors which causes asthma worse. Not all factors affect everyone, but these can cause asthma exacerbation in certain individuals. Infection in upper airways such as cold, that is why asthma become worse during winters. Sudden change in weather and temperature. Then many people have exercise-induced asthma. They get asthma attacks after exercising. Then very interestingly, a strong physical expression like laughing. Many people come that when I laugh a lot, after that I get an asthma attack. All right. Then other allergens such as fur and feather animals, dust mite, cockroaches, pollens, molds, pollutants, these all can cause asthma worse. Then environmental tobacco smoke, outdoor pollution, fumes, perfumes, etc. They also causes asthma worse. So these factors should be avoided by asthmatic individuals. I hope that you must have noted that I have not talked about any edible thing. So there are many misconceptions in the society that rice, ice cream, oranges, milk, these are bad for chest. So these are all misconceptions, and we should clear them. Then smoking and asthma. An asthmatic who smokes gets more symptoms of asthma, gets earlier disability due to COPD. There is increased decline in FEV1, which we discussed yesterday. Forced expiratory volume in 1 second of asthmatic smokers is lesser than people who are having asthma, and from them and also from people who have got COPD. Then the mainstay of treatment of asthma is inhaled corticosteroid. So due to smoking, the response to inhaled corticosteroid is reduced and the airway inflammation is more. So it's not a good thing to smoke, and if someone is asthmatic, it is very bad for him to smoke, for him or her to smoke. All right. So asthma is a global healthcare issue. There are around 300 million individuals who are living with asthma. And over the last 40 years, there has been a sharp increase in global prevalence. And asthma prevalence is expected to be increasing with every decade. So these are certain studies, like in Finland, they did a prevalence study of asthma, and they found out it to be around 2% in 1966. And when they do it again in 1989, it was like 4%. So there was twofold increase. Now, if you see USA, so in every region, it has been increasing when the prevalence study is being done after 1 or 2 decades. So it is increasing worldwide. So it's also a pandemic. All right. And the possible reason for increasing asthma prevalence, it's not known, but it is thought that it is due to adoption of Western lifestyle, decreased socioeconomic status, exposure to tobacco smoke, exposure to environmental smoke, obesity, and microbial exposures. So there was a very large study which was done in 1994 and 1995. It was known as ISEC study, and it was done into 155 centers in the 5 continents. All right. And this study was done to see asthma prevalence in the world, which came out to be between 2.1% to 32.2% worldwide. In certain region, it was very less, and in certain region, it was very high. And the average prevalence of world is 13.8%. Pakistan was also the part of this study. And the prevalence, you can see this green dot, and you can tally it from here, is between 5 to 10%. All right. So here is the Pakistan, and it is around 10% in Pakistan. All right. So it is believed that on an average, 3 children in a classroom of 30 students are likely to have asthma. So asthma is a common condition. All right. And many of you must be also many of you will be also having asthma. All right. Are there any asthmatics? No? Difficult to believe. Okay. Yes. So we have got certain answers. Some people had childhood asthma. All right. So asthma is a common condition. When I was young, I also had childhood asthma, but I have grown out of it now. All right. Then this is a study which was done in Pakistan. It is known as Arab study. All right. And it showed that how that 51% of adults and 32% of children had severe episodes of asthma in our country, and 50% had uncontrolled asthma. They reported that they were hospitalized in last 1 year, which shows bad on us. Asthma is a condition which can be controlled very well. All right. And if 50% of our population is having acute severe asthma or are getting hospitalized due to asthma in a calendar year, that's not something good. All right. Yes, with emotional stress, asthma exacerbates. Oh. All right. Another asthmatic. Okay. So how do we approach with a patient of asthma? First of all, we have to take a very good history. And when you are going to visit our clinics, you will be taught how to take history and how to take history of asthma. In asthma history, you have to take a complete family, environmental, and occupational history. And occupational history is a lifetime occupation. All right. Then environmental history is like seasonal changes, pollution. You know that in mulberry seasons in Islamabad, there's outbreak of asthma, exacerbations, occupational history. Then medication, we know that certain medications like beta blockers and aspirin, they causes asthma exacerbations. All right. So a complete history is always important. So what are so there's an interesting question. What's the difference between asthma attack and panic attack? So can you ask this question in the end? It's interesting. I'll answer it. Okay. So what are the symptoms of asthma? Shortness of breath, wheezing, chest tightness, coughing, and these symptoms usually get worse in night or early in the morning. So asthma is diagnosed with history of variable respiratory symptoms, and the symptoms are wheeze, shortness of breath, chest tightness, and cough. All right. Generally, more than one type of respiratory symptom is present. All right. So in panic attack, there will be no cough. All right. Here, there will be shortness of breath, there will be cough, there will be chest tightness, and when you auscultate, there will be wheezing. Then symptoms occur variably over time and vary in intensity. All right. So an asthmatic will be up and about, and when there's exposure to something like any insecticide or any mosquito repellent, he will be having episode of asthma. Okay, and this episode can subside without medication or with medication. All right. Symptoms are often worse at night or on awakening. Symptoms are often triggered by exercise, laughter, allergens, cold air, and symptoms often appear or worsen with viral infections. All right. So asthma diagnosis is made on history of symptoms, and then evidence of variable airflow limitation, that is done by bronchodilator reversibility, and there are some other tests also. All right. So, are you all clear? Are you all with me? Is there any questions so far? So we can move further. Thank you. So we take a good history, then we do examination. Mind it that many a times a person comes to you and tells you that I've been having coughing all night, and I was having shortness of breath, and I was having wheezing, which was audible. And when you auscultate him, at that time, he might not be having any physical signs. All right. So an asthmatic is not always symptomatic. Okay. So the objective measurement of variability is by spirometry or by this device. All right. We call it a peak flow meter. It's a simple device which can be placed in the clinic. So this peak flow meter has got this indicator. You pull this indicator to 0, ask the patient to blow through this mouthpiece, and with that, this indicator will be pushed. All right. And that is how you measure the peak expiratory flow rate, PEFR. Peak expiratory flow rate is 1/10 of FEV1. All right. So suppose a patient come to my clinic and I tell him to blow forcefully into it, and it is like 100. All right. After that, I give him a short-acting bronchodilator through an inhaler and tell him to repeat the test again, and it increases to 200. So that is air flow variability. So asthma is diagnosed. So it's a simple and cheap device for diagnosis of asthma. How does asthma resolve without medication? It does not resolve. The attack resolves without medication. It can be resolved with medication, and it can go away itself. Like if you get hurt by something, that pain can go away with medication, and that pain can go away on its own. All right. So this peak flow meter is used for diagnosis of asthma. This peak flow meter is also used to see if the patient is responding to the medication. All right. This peak flow meter is used by the patient to record his asthma. All right. Like we can tell the patient that these are 3 zones: red zone, yellow zone, and green zone. If you are in green zone, if your peak flow comes in the green zone, and this will be individually tailored, these zones. Okay. So this green, if you are in this green zone, it means that your asthma is perfectly under control. If you are in this yellow zone, you have to take your medication as prescribed, the asthma action plan, that you take your short-acting bronchodilator. And if you are in this red zone, you have to visit on hospital emergency. All right. So as peak flow rate is lowest in the morning, highest at night, and it's effort dependent. If the patient is not doing a good effort, then this peak flow will not help. It's not a blood test. So it's an effort dependent test. Then the spirometry, which we discussed yesterday. In spirometry, again, what we have to see: FEV1, force expiratory volume in 1 second, force vital capacity, and their ratio. And what happens in an obstructive disease? In an obstructive disease, the FEV1 over FVC ratio is less than 70%. All right. So if we do a spirometry of a suspected case of asthma, and his FEV1 is less, and his FEV1 or FVC is lower than 70%, and then we give him a bronchodilator like salbutamol, okay, or terbutaline, and we repeat his bronchoscopy again after 15 minutes, and this 12% increase in FEV1, that is diagnostic of asthma, okay, because that is a good reversibility, 12% and 200 ml. All right. So MCQ will come in your paper that how to diagnose asthma. So a reversibility of 12% and 200 ml. All right. So I have a question. A patient or suspected of asthma comes to you, and his FEV1 or FVC is less than 70%, and FEV1 is less. And when you give bronchodilator, after that also, if FEV1 or FVC is less than 70% and FEV1 does not improve, what's the disease? Quickly. Oh, I'm so glad it was actually my test, because I taught you yesterday this. So that disease is COPD. Thank you for your answers. Because if you would not have answered that, I would have failed. All right. Okay. So one way of diagnosis asthma. Yes, it's COPD. So one way of diagnosing asthma is bronchodilator response. Other is that you do diurnal variability through peak flow. That you give the peak flow meter to patient and he brings in his recordings of morning and evening. All right. And if there's significant variability between morning and evening, that is also diagnostic of asthma. Then if you prescribe controller medication and over 4 weeks, there's an improvement or improvement in FEV1 or peak flow, that is also asthma. All right. So you have to diagnose the variability. These are again the flow volume loops, which you are not going to discuss. The diagnostic features of asthma can be assessed by variability, which can be done by certain ways. And one of them is which we have not discussed so far are bronchial provocation test. And it's also known as methacholine challenge test in some specialized centers, not any I know in Pakistan. Methacholine is given, and methacholine is a type of histamine which causes bronchoconstriction. And if bronchoconstriction occurs at a very less dose, if the 20% bronchoconstriction at a very little dose, we call that little dose PD20. If it's low, that is diagnostic of asthma. And also we can do that, we can see the FEV1 or peak flow, and after exercising, we check it again. If there's reduction in of 15%, that is exercise-induced asthma. All right. We have to hurry now because we are getting short of time. So in a good asthmatic control, there should be in a week, there should be daytime symptoms less than twice a week. There should not be any nighttime symptom. Reliever medication is allowed less than 2 weeks, and there should not be any in medical practice. Then there are leukotriene modifiers, then there are systemic glucocorticosteroids, sustained release theophylline, anti-IgE, etc. The management of asthma is done in a stepwise fashion. All right. So if the patient is symptomatic, we step up. All right. If someone is having very infrequent symptoms, like say once in a 3 month, then he should be taking only short-acting beta-2 agonist as per needed. You can consider giving low-dose inhaled corticosteroid. All right. If the patient is not controlled in step 1, we will go to step 2, in which what we give low-dose inhaled corticosteroid. As per needed, short-acting beta-2 agonist is added in every stage. All right. If the patient is not controlled on step 2, we move to step 3, in which we give low-dose inhaled corticosteroid plus long-acting beta-2 agonist. If the patient is not controlled, we give medium to high-dose inhaled corticosteroid plus long-acting beta-2 agonist. And if the patient is not controlled even on that, then we may refer the patient to a specialist for anti-IgE treatment in certain patients who have got increased IgE, and there are some other specialists. Specialists can give some other medications. All right. So in asthma, we need 100 out of 100 marks. There should not be any symptom. There should not be any limitation of activity. All right. So what we do, we review response, we assess, and we adjust treatment. We step down, we step up, depending upon condition of the patient. So how often should asthma be reviewed? Every 1 to 3 months in start, and then every 3 to 12 months. And after an exacerbation within a week, if a patient is sustained setup for at least 2 to 3 months and he is controlled, we can step down, we can step up at any time. All right. An exacerbation of asthma is an acute or subacute worsening of symptoms of asthma. Okay. And how do we manage that? We assess the patient. First of all, we see is it asthma, because an asthmatic patient can have an MI, can have a pneumonia, can have anything. So first of all, we have to assess that this exacerbation is of asthma. This is no other medical condition. Then we see that is the attack mild, moderate, or severe, or life-threatening. If it's life-threatening, patient is going to intensive care for intubation. All right. If patient is mild or moderate attack, we will, or even severe attack, we can try short-acting beta-2 agonist. We can give systemic corticosteroid and oxygen. If the patient improves, we can shift him out. And if the patient does not improve, he may be transferred to intensive care. All right. Complications of asthma are respiratory failure, pneumothorax, and acute severe asthma or asthma exacerbation. So thank you very much for your feedbacks and your patient listening. If there are any questions, I'll love to answer them. We have got 5 minutes for that. If theophylline is still routinely used to treat asthma, theophylline is not routinely used to treat asthma, though it treats asthma. But we know that this medication does not have a very good safety index. All right. So it is not a preferred treatment. Yes, cockroach allergens causes trigger of asthma in some individuals. Yes, panic attack. So panic attack is not a respiratory problem. Panic attack is usually a psychiatric disorder in which a patient just panics because of his surroundings. All right. We know that our respiration is an involuntary process, but we can voluntarily increase our respiratory rate. So the patient who will be having panic attack will not be having cough, will not be having wheezing. All right. Asthma is very prevalent. Asthma is very much prevalent. A quick review of whole thing. Okay, I'll try. Can the pharmacological way to relieve asthma symptoms have some adverse interaction with the patient's medication, like drugs for anxiety and stress? Well, the drugs which relieves asthma causes an increase in heart rate. It can cause tachycardia. It can cause palpitation. All right. If you can tell me that on what part do you want to have a review, I will surely give you what you have not understood, because the whole presentation could not be repeated. Are there any other questions? Sir, can you please repeat the peak flow PF?